and welcome to the Sable International UK Citizenship podcast. My name is Tallulah and I'm here with Mishal Patel. This is the second in our series on routes to British nationality for South Africans. Today we'll be discussing one of the surprisingly common routes, Crown Service. Mishal, I don't think the average person knows what Crown Service is, so maybe you can start by explaining it a little bit.
Sure. So Crown Service in regards to claiming British citizenship actually is it's two-part really. First, to realize the person claiming it. So if someone's claiming it and they're born before 1983, then the relevant person that must be in Crown Service is the parent.
But Crown
Must be in Crown
Service,
Service.
so what counts as Crown Service?
So unfortunately, UK does like making things complicated, and the definition of Crown Service changes a little bit on the 1st of January 1983. So let's talk about before 1983.
Okay. So this applies to people born before 1983.
Correct. Yeah. So in that definition, usually Crown Service is any service that's rendered on behalf of the UK government. Okay, and the recruitment must have taken place in the UK. Not so much as where the service took place or how long it was for, but it's more or less, were they recruited in the UK and was it on behalf of the UK government, locally or overseas for that matter?
So an example.
A good example would be someone working in Northern Rhodesia, which is now Zambia, in the 50s, having been sent over as a civil servant from the UK, and the next generation born there, for example. We do see quite a bit of that with overseas civil servants, for example. So often a lot of people, assume Crown Service is army service, but not always. And also not in the period before 1983, where it was quite the thing to work overseas. It was quite normal at that point as a civil servant. Now, I must stress, and I will come back to it, that for it to matter to the next generation, so say this person was born in 1980, where the father was sent over from the UK as a civil servant to Northern Rhodesia, that service must cover the applicant's date of birth or his child's date of birth, the person trying to claim.
In the Crown Service when they were born.
Correct. In which case, that nationality would jump another generation born out of the UK. In other words, the person born in 1980 would have a claim through their dad. Not necessarily a dad born in the UK, just happened to be recruited in the UK. So you could have a scenario where the paternal grandfather was born in the UK, went out there, did his part in South Africa, whatever reason, had a child born there. Now that child could have grown up in South Africa or any part of Southern Africa for that matter, come back to the UK for his schooling and all that, recruited from the UK and sent back out. And that's when he had the next generation born in, like in my example, in 1980, Northern Rhodesia for that, or Zambia at that point. But the dad was performing or was in Crown Service at that stage. So that's an example for where a parent is in Crown Service, and that usually is the relevant person when it comes to British nationality for those born before 1983, in other words. Now, if you have someone born from the 1st of January 1983 onwards, out of the UK, let's say, South Africa for that matter, or Zimbabwe, the relevant person that must be in Crown Service is actually not the parent, it's the grandparent. At the moment, again, the law is quite gender discriminatory. It says grandfather, which is being addressed. So it must be the relevant grandfather in Crown Service at the time the father was born or the mother was born for that matter, if it's the maternal father. And then that would allow the nationality to go 2 generations, from the grandparent to the parent and the parent to the child. So one example that I recently saw in my time in South Africa was where we had someone born in 1997 in South Africa. Now their mom was born in Southern Rhodesia, which is now Zimbabwe, and her father was born in the UK, having been sent out as actually a teacher to Southern Rhodesia by the UK government.
Yeah, because the key thing is that they must be recruited in the UK. So the grandparent or parent would have to have been at some stage in the UK to be recruited.
Yep.
And then you'd have to have proof that they were recruited in the UK and that they served the Crown.
For those born after the 1st of January 1983, as I said earlier, it has to be a relevant grandparent in Crown service at the time the relevant parent was born. Now, I was just saying in my example where I had a 1997-year-old come to me at the roadshow, you know, his although he was born in South Africa, his mom was born, say, in this case, she was born in Zimbabwe, then Southern Rhodesia, and her father had been sent out as a teacher to teach in Southern Rhodesia, and she was born during his time being a teacher there. Now, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if people don't think that's Crown service, but in fact, it is. And the reason why it is from the 1st of January 1983, the definition of Crown service includes what they call designated service. Designated service has nothing to do with the UK Army or armed forces. It's actually to do with service performed in an independent country or a country where the UK is responsible for certain affairs. In other words, with Southern Rhodesia, the UK was responsible for its external affairs all the way up to 1980, actually. So any service performed by a civil servant sent out from the UK in Southern Rhodesia in that time is counted as designated service, which then falls under the overall definition of Crown service. So if anyone listening to this podcast, my grandfather wasn't in the army or the British South African police or anything of that nature, well, that's fine, because Crown service, especially in Southern Rhodesia, I find ranges. It can be a postmaster, agricultural officer, a teacher.
Wow.
And we have done those cases and won those cases before. So Crown service is a bit difficult because, again, like you said earlier, it's all about the evidence as well and proving it, not just so much as, oh, I know my grandfather was a teacher, because you also got to prove his recruitment in the UK, which we can help people with. We know where to look for those things. And also, we have to prove the length of service covers, as you said earlier, Tallulah, the relevant parents' date of birth as well.
Okay, great. Well, remember, you can get in touch with Mishal and his team by filling in our free online British citizenship assessment, which you can access by going to sableinternational.com/British-citizenship, or just Googling Sable International Citizenship Assessment. So that's it for today. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much, guys. Bye now.
Bye.